Hi there. Welcome to Apple World by the same token. In the event that they could have done without it, their better half cherished it. Do you understand what I'm talking about? So it's like, wow, my significant other loves you. Wow, my significant other loves you. We should come in. Steve Harvey's significant other, Marjorie, has purportedly gone behind his back with his guardian and his own culinary specialist. Furthermore, sources close to Lori Harvey's ex, Michael B. Jordan, are saying that MJ generally realized Steve was loaded with it when he was dishing relationship advice to ladies. Reports as of late have arisen via web-based entertainment that Marjorie Harvey was discovered cheating with 2 individuals from her family staff. And a few sources likewise revealed that Marjorie is currently wanting to take half of all that Steve claims. In the present moment, reports are twirling on Twitter that Marjorie went behind Steve's back with his protector. What's more, besides the fact that she needs a separation, she also needs $200 million. Presently, we as a whole realize that Steve Harvey has fabricated his profession of offering relationship and marriage guidance. So you can now envision the remarks from fans about the supposed conning outrage, stirring up the Harvey family. And keeping in mind that a few fans are stunned that Steve and Marjorie are supposedly setting out toward a pricey separation, sources near Michael B. Jordan are saying MJ generally realized this would happen eventually. However, what do we truly know about Marjorie Harvey's supposed undertaking with Steve's workers? What's more, did MJ truly project that Marjorie could wind up playing? Steve, we should separate them. I was able to take the L. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Furthermore, as well as manage the you look natural. Furthermore, are you the you understand what I'm talking about? Simply the same as planned to get that with a number 8. You know what I'm talking about. Over the past few weeks, shocking reports have been circling on the web that Steve Harvey was betrayed by his significant other of 16 years, Marjorie Harvey. A few outlets detailed that Marjorie went behind Steve's back with his guardian's enormous blast, while others guaranteed that she likewise took part in extramarital entanglements with Steve's own gourmet expert. And keeping in mind that Marjorie is yet to address the tricking tales, fans are expressing that where there's smoke, there's fire. What's more, knowing Marjorie Harvey's set of experiences, that is a ton of smoke. In the interim, reports additionally surfaced that Lori Harvey's ex, Michael B. Jordan, consistently accepted that Steve and Marjorie's marriage wasn't as particularly wonderful as Steve attempted to persuade everybody. What's more, he clearly felt that all the dating advice Steve and Marjorie gave Lori was a lot of BS. Insiders acquainted with the Harveys' relational peculiarities have recommended that Marjorie show Lori how to be cold and determined while dating. Furthermore, given Marjorie's past, this new improvement ought not be astonishing nowadays. Marjorie Harvey is known for flaunting her pampering way of life via virtual entertainment and blending with high-profile people. Nonetheless, Marjorie's life before meeting Steve Harvey was a long way from the extravagant life she now appreciates. Marjorie and Steve originally ran into each other back in 1990 at a parody club in Memphis, and Steve guaranteed it was head-over-heels love. So he's simply calm. He simply continues to gaze at me. So I'm looking out for him to give me a piece of his show so we can continue ahead with it. So he remained silent for so long, gazing at me. Presently, everyone in the club is checking me out. Thus, he at long last understood, all right? I've got to say something. He was like, goodness, please accept my apologies. I don't have the foggiest idea what this identity is. However, I will wed her. Steve and Marjorie's association was momentous, and they began dating soon after. Nonetheless, the sentiment didn't keep going for long, and they headed out in a different direction, with Steve later recommending that Marjorie leave him since his monetary circumstances weren't that extraordinary at that point. However, at that point, their ways crossed again in 2005, this time with Steve enjoying some real success with the outcome of The Steve Harvey Show, and Marjorie choosing to allow their relationship another opportunity. However, there was only one issue. Steve's set of experiences incorporated a past union with Mary Shackelford, and Mary later claimed that Steve went behind her back with Marjorie while they were as yet hitched. At the point when I contemplated how rapidly he pushed ahead from me to Marjorie, that was upsetting. Considerably upsetting, Steve took his child Winton from his marriage with Mary. And as indicated by Mary, he controlled the lawful interaction, leaving her with nothing. He took my Winton from me. He turned my child against me, had me expelled from our home, and tossed out every one of the organizations, all the cash, and the vehicles. I was down and crushed. He controlled the courts. Everything was against me. In any case, many fans have estimated that it was really Marjorie, not Steve, who coordinated this control, persuading Steve to cut all ties with his ex. Purportedly, Marjorie likewise trained Steve to depict Mary as unsteady in the media, and Steve began gaslighting Mary and blaming her for being noxious and destructive to their child. The part is frightful. In here is my significant other, and youngsters must be sedated into this. You know, in the event that you are malevolent, feel free to simply point it at me. In any case, my child is coming into the room crying, and that is likewise heard. So why could you do this? Yet, in spite of Steve and Marjorie's endeavors to wind up the account, public opinion favored Mary, while Marjorie became perhaps the least preferred Hollywood spouse. As of late, Mary has censured Marjorie for her control, guaranteeing that Marjorie effectively attempted to harm her relationship with Winton. I know that as a mother, assuming I was ever in a situation where I was responsible for another person's youngster, I certainly ensured they had an extraordinary relationship with that kid. Yet I simply don't have the foggest idea how. Marjorie specifically can call herself a mother to her own youngsters and intentionally attempt to disrupt my relationship with my child. Also, what aggravates Marjorie in this present circumstance is the way that her sketchy activities originated before her rebranding as Mrs. Harvey. Preceding gathering Steve, Marjorie had been married twice. Her most memorable marriage was to medical ruler Jim Townsend, with whom she shares two youngsters, Morgan and Jason, who were subsequently taken on by Steve. Thinking back to the 90s, both Jim and Marjorie were researched by the FBI and DEA, and Marjorie clearly procured herself the moniker woman heroine. As indicated by one report, the specialists let Jim know that unless he helped them out, Marjorie would be captured on the grounds that they had, quote, significant proof of her own criminal operations. Jim consented to help out specialists and was condemned to life in jail. He carried out 26 years of his punishment prior to being absolved by President Obama in 2017. Concerning Marjorie, she figured out how to get away from the charges and petitioned for legal separation from Jim while he was in jail. Yet Marjorie burned through no time, and when she separated from Jim, she got hitched to Darnell Woods, Jim's cousin and furthermore a street pharmacist. Marjorie and Darnell wed at some point in the mid-2000s and had one child together, Lori, who was subsequently embraced by Steve. However, as may be obvious, the timetable of Marjorie's connections is confounding in light of the fact that she and Steve guaranteed to have met in the last part of the 90s, dated momentarily, and afterward reconnected in 2005. So it seems like the two of them went behind their accomplices' backs with one another. In any case, after Marjorie reconnected with Steve and acknowledged he was going to become famous in Hollywood, she immediately finished her marriage with Darnell. Darnell was subsequently captured for drug-related wrongdoings and is apparently still imprisoned. Steve and Marjorie wed in 2007, with Steve taking on Marjorie's 3 kids after he sealed the deal with Marjorie. Steve began doling out relationship counsel, and in 2009 he distributed his New York Times bestseller, Carry On Like a Woman, Take on a Similar Mindset as a Man. The book is focused on single ladies, and the reason depends on Steve's conviction that men are exceptionally straightforward animals and that they're principally determined by how much cash they make. The entire book revolves around the old secure and give account, and it tells ladies they need to act ignorant to stroke the male self-image. In the book, Steve likewise scrutinizes ladies who move in with their sweethearts before marriage and argues that the best way to transform a serious relationship into a marriage is to mark the calendar for the wedding. Essentially, Steve presents marriage as a secure approach to keeping your man, yet it seems as though he neglected to compose a section on the most proficient method to keep your lady in light of the fact that, as per the most recent reports, while Steve was offering guidance to different ladies on the most proficient method to go from sweetheart to spouse, his own significant other was getting going with the staff. What's more, since Steve was obviously found tossing conceal at Michael B. Jordan after Lori unloaded him. Fans are cherishing this development, and they're saying MJ should be snickering someplace at the present time. Sources near MJ are additionally saying he generally held reservations regarding Marjorie and thought she'd wind up playing Steve eventually. Marjorie likewise supposedly meddled in MJ and Lori's relationship, and as per well-established bits of hearsay, the motivation behind why Steve and Marjorie were hesitant to acknowledge MJ as Lori's accomplice, notwithstanding guaranteeing in any case in the general population, is on the grounds that MJ believed Lori should sign a prenup. Notwithstanding, Marjorie could have done without this thought. Many fans presently feel that MJ avoided a disaster by not turning out to be essential for the Harvey family. Furthermore, they're playing Steve for building his profession off of offering relationship guidance, only to wind up getting undermined by the lady he openly set up as a place of worship. One fan said, "Imagine anything Steve Harvey is going through in the present moment. Her little girl Lori served excessively. Michael B. Jordan simply an alternate recipe."